Hello mga ka-Engoo and Jacko Natics natin dyan. How are you today? So this is again your Tutor Jacko at your service. Well, today ipagpapatuloy natin yung ating tutorial on the manual books of accounts. Okay, this is for online tutors like me, and it's also applicable for freelancers and vloggers out there. Alright? So, in our previous video, pinag-usapan natin kung ano ba yung mga books of accounts na gagamitin natin. So, we have the journal or the general journal, the general ledger, the cash receipts book, and the cash disbursements book. Alright? For this video alone, we will be talking about the journal, the general journal. So, paano ba natin gagamitin ang ating general journal? Alright, well, before the general journal, of course, kailangan natin maintindihan na what we are doing is actually bookkeeping. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you how to do simple bookkeeping. Alright, so in accounting parlance, wag lang kayong ma-pressure. Alright, so we have what we call the basic accounting cycle. Alright, so first, in the cycle is of course the financial transactions. Alright? Later, I will also tell you what are the examples of financial transactions. Alright? And also, we have the general journal. Okay? So, ito na yung, after the transaction, you record your transaction in the journal. And later, I'm going to show you how to record your transaction using the general journal. And then the third one is the general ledger. Okay, so meron din tayong general ledger. And then after that, you will have, the trial balance. Alright? And then the last one is the financial statement. So ganito yung cycle natin for the whole accounting period. Like in a year, that's our accounting period from January to December. So at the end of the year, we will do the trial balance, and at the same time, we will also be making our own financial statements. Now, what are the financial transactions that I am talking earlier? Alright, so these are some of the examples. Actually, ito yung na-experience ko when, working as an online teacher. And at the same time, pwede rin ito, applicable din ito sa mga freelancers and social media influencers or bloggers. Alright, so these are the example of financial transactions. Alright, so like for example, you invested equipments. Okay, so first thing, when you do this kind of job, kailangan mo talaga mag-invest ng mga equipments like computers, headset, okay, or laptop, webcam, alright, or yung camera na medyo mahal-mahal for vlogging. So, yun sa mga transactions, alright? And then, for example, you loaned money, okay, from a friend. It's also a transaction. I've tried that one too, okay? So, para ma-process ko yung aking COR and SD, alright? So, I loaned from a friend. And then, the other transaction is processing of your COR and SD. Of course, magbabayad ka, okay? Registration plus the COR, and then also the processing of SD, alright? Including barangay clearance and many other documents, notarization and all. And another transaction is when you paid for OR printing, okay? So, naranasan natin yan. So, when we when we register as self-employed or professional, kailangan talaga natin ng OR, and then we are paying for the printing of the OR. And other transaction would be you bought journal and ledger. Okay, so ito yung pinag-uusapan natin. Bibilihin mo naman ito, hindi naman ito ibibigay sa'yo. So, kailangan mo pa rin ito bilhin. Alright? So, mabibili mo naman ang journal and ledger in bookstores, in national bookstores, or any other supply stores. Alright? And then also another transaction when you receive your compensation. So, ito yung pinaka maganda. Okay? So, when you receive your compensation or your salary from the clients or from the company that you are working with. Alright? And then also when you paid your internet bill. So, it's a financial transaction. And then, the other transaction we have here is you paid a loan in full. Okay, nangutang ka, so syempre magbayad ka. So, from out of your pay, okay, out of your salary. And then also, of course, siguro, sa mga mababait, kagaya ko, So you lend money to your friend. Okay, so these are, sample transactions, and these transactions must, need a support, where a proof of transactions. Most of our proof of transaction is receipts, okay, or official receipts. Like for example, when you buy an equipment, okay, so mayroon namang ibibigay na resibo. So keep it, because yung receipt na yan, that will be a proof of your transaction. Kasi in accounting, pag walang proof of transaction, the transaction is not valid. Okay? So kailangan talaga mayroon kang mga resibo. For loan, dapat meron kang loan voucher. Kung sa friend mo lang ka lang ng hiram, so you just have to write something like, agreement, kahit handwritten lang, para i-attach mo dito sa iyong, books of accounts. Alright, so these are sample financial transactions that happen, to me as an online teacher, and also for freelancers and of course vloggers out there. Alright, so in accounting, meron din tayong tinatawag na chart of accounts. So again guys, wag lang kayo ma-pressure sa nakikita niyo ng mga terms. Okay. So para binibigay ko lang ito because para meron kayong idea, kung bakit. Alright? So ito yung mga chart of accounts. Ano ba yung mga accounts? Of course, in every transaction, mayroon kang gagamitin na accounts, okay, in accounting or in bookkeeping. Alright? So in accounting, meron tayong dalawang basic na financial reports or financial statements, which are the balance sheet and also the income statements. Alright? So mayroong mga different accounts na ginagamit in the balance sheet and also in the income statement. So in my case, in my experience, ganito yung mga accounts na usually nagagamit ko. And then the chart of accounts. In your case, kung mayroon kayong mga transactions na iba from here, so pwede nyo naman i-add sa inyong chart of accounts yung mga other accounts na ginagamit ninyo for freelancing and also for vlogging, alright, or for, any other transactions. Now, here are the chart of accounts that actually I am using, okay. For balance sheet accounts, I am also using the cash account. That is asset, okay. So that's part of the asset account, alright? And also accounts receivable, alright? This is also an asset account, alright? So equipments, this is an asset account. And then also accounts payable, this is under the liability account. And then of course, my capital, alright? So Digamon Capital, that's actually my surname. And that's owner's equity, alright? So for the other financial statement, that is income statement. So ito lang yung mga ginagamit ko ng mga accounts, okay? So service revenue, okay? Since we are providing service to our clients, all right? In my case, to Engoo, my ESL company, and of course to you, you have individual clients as freelancers or virtual assistants. Then sa YouTube, okay, or sa Facebook. So, you provide these services, so you call it service revenue. And then also taxes and licenses. Of course, this is very important because we are paying taxes every year, every quarter. So that's under the expense account. And then of course, internet or any utilities, pwede, expenses. So yung utilities dito sa bahay, hindi naman sa akin talaga galing yung pera pambayad. So hindi ko siya sinali. Then also, of course, office supplies and expenses. Alright? So, ito yung mga basic na accounts na ginagamit ko in my transactions as an online tutor. Alright, so andito na tayo. So, we will now be using our journal or the general journal. Again, this is, the book that you will be using for all of your transactions. And it is recorded in a form of journal entries. Alright, so gagawa na tayo ng journal entries. Do not forget all of the transactions that I've mentioned earlier. Okay, so yun yung gagamitin natin na transactions. And ano yung mga entry or journal entries na gagawin natin dito. Okay, in the journal or the general journal. Alright, so dito na tayo ngayon guys sa ating journal. Alright, so nakapasok na tayo sa journal. Okay. So on the upper side, makikita mo yung may mga ano doon, row, okay, sa pinakataas. And then the first column, of course, kailangan mo ilagay, lagyan mo siya ng ano, like for example, date. Usually date naman, okay? So may date dyan. And then also, in the next column, yung pinakamalaking column, there is particulars. Some will use description, okay? That's also good. But in the accounting, we use actually particulars. And then, yung dalawang column, that's for the amount. Of course, meron tayong debit, and then we also have credit accounts. Alright? So, that's for the heading of the journal. Alright, now let's move forward. Okay, so in our first transaction earlier, I mentioned, the first transaction is that you invested in equipment. Of course, in this kind of job, kailangan natin ng mga equipments. Alright? So, nag-invest tayo. So, yung transactions na gagamitin natin or the accounts na gagamitin natin is ito. Okay? So, take note of this January 1, yung naka-red. Alright? So, of course, kailangan natin ng computer. So, bumili tayo ng computer, that is equipment. So, kailangan mo siya lagyan ng computer para specific yung equipment mo. So, that's for 15,000. Then, of course, headset, equipment na headset, that is 3,000. And then, equipment that is, webcam, kailangan natin yan, alright? So, that's 2,000. So, since I invested it, I used my own money to buy it. So, gagamitin natin yung capital account or the equity account, so which is the Gamon Capital, worth 20,000, alright? So, makikita ninyo, 15 plus 3 plus 2, that's 20,000, okay? So, always remember, guys, when you make an entry, alright, make sure that the debit account is balanced with the credit side. The debit side is balanced with the credit side, alright? So, dito dapat balance lahat, okay? So, in accounting, dapat balance lahat. So, if you total this one, so that's 20,000, okay? Total debit is 20,000 and then the total credit is 20,000. In a journal entry, importante na meron tayong explanation. Alright? So, when we try to scan, or the BIR practitioner, or the BIR, people from the BIR during the tax mapping, alam na niya because may explanation mo na dyan. Alright? So, in this particular transaction, you can say, to record purchase of equipments per OR number. Kung may mga OR, so ilagay mo yung mga OR number for reference. Alright? Alright, so andito for the January 2 transaction. So in this case, nangutang ka, okay? So you lend money from someone, alright? So ano yung entry na gagamitin natin? Ano yung journal entries natin? I can take note in January 2. Of course, nangutang ka, of course you receive cash, alright? So nangutang ka ng 5,000 pesos. So you receive cash, 5,000 pesos. And then that's debit, 5,000 pesos. And of course, yung account na gagamitin mo for the credit side is the accounts payable, which is loans. Alright? So that's also for 5,000 pesos. And then do not forget the explanation to record loan from Mr. Utang Now. Okay. So 5,000 again, debit side and credit side balance. So that's 5,000 and 5,000. For January 10 transactions, ito na yung nag-process ka ng COR and SD. Alright? So, yung debit account na gagamitin mo is taxes and licenses, which is an expense account. You debit 3,000 for instance. And then you pay cash. Okay? You credit cash, which is also 3,000. And then the explanation to record payment for COR and SD. And for the January 11 transaction, this is the time when you pay for the printing of your official receipt. Okay, so you debit office supplies, that is 2,000 pesos, and then you credit cash because you paid 2,000 pesos. And then your explanation to record payment for the printing of OR or the official receipt. For January 13, this was when you paid, okay, for the journals and ledgers that you bought, okay, from the National Bookstore, for instance. So your debit would be office supplies, that is the amount of 200, and then you credit cash 200. And then the explanation to record payment for journals and ledgers. Alright, for January 15 transaction, this is the moment of truth. Okay. Because this time, na-receive mo na yung salary mo, okay, for January 15. Of course, ang saya-saya mo na nito. so, huwag mong kalimutan i-record, of course, okay? Because this is actually the highlight of the transactions that they have here. Okay, so debit cash for 20,000, for instance, if that's your salary. And then you credit service revenue for 20,000 as well. And then for the explanation, to record salary for the period January 15, 2022. In my case, because I applied for an 8% flat income tax rate, so wala akong withholding taxes. Okay? For January 16 transaction, this was the time na nagbayad ka ng internet. Okay? So, again, it's an expense, so you debit internet for 1,800 and then you credit cash for 1,800 as well. Okay? And then the explanation to record payment for the internet for the January bill. January 25, alright, so ito yung time na nagpautang ka, okay, so to your friend. So you record accounts receivable, okay, which is 6,000 yung pinautang mo, and then you credit cash for 6,000. Alright? So, yung explanation mo, to record loan to Miss Palautang. Oy, bakit ba pinautang? Okay, so January 31, party. Okay. So, payday for January 31. So, you the debit cash, 20,000, and then again, service revenue for 20,000. And to record salary for the period January 31, 2022. Hi. Okay, for the last transaction, of course, kakasweldo mo lang. And then, dumating si Mr. Utang now, of course. Yung mga nagpapautang, niningil yan kapag tingsweldo. Okay. So, you debit accounts payable loans. Again, originally, nag-credit ka dati ng accounts payable. Para ma-zero out siya, you debit it. Alright? So, accounts payable loans, 5,000. And then, of course, mayroong interest expense kasi nag-interest siya for a month. So, that's 500. Wow, laki-interest ni Mr. Utang, 10%. Okay, and then total cash paid is 5,500. Explanation, to record payment of loan to Mr. Utang now. Ayan guys, so those are the different transactions that you can record in your general journal. Alright, so those transactions are actually applicable to in my case because I'm an online tutor. So those are my regular transactions in a month. Alright, but if you have other transactions as well, so you can actually include that. And then just make a research on what accounts to use and for that particular transaction. Okay, and yeah, and that's it. Alright, so that's part 2 of this tutorial on the manual books of accounts. I hope I was able to help you guys understand how to use your general journal. In the next part of this video, part 3, abangan ninyo because we will now be talking about the general ledger. Okay, so the next phase after journalizing, you need to do the posting of your transactions in your general ledger. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching guys, and if you are new to this channel, just click that subscribe button, like and ring the bell. Okay, you can share this video to others, and if you have questions, if you have suggestions, feel free to comment that down below guys. Alright, so that's it for today. And God bless you all. See you again soon.